had a resonance with me, powerful learners, because something I'm very interested in is seeing the difference between information and knowledge. And I think when you say a powerful learner, it's someone who has knowledge, someone who can use what they have learnt, not just in the specific context in which they've learnt it, but they can apply what they've learnt to a whole range of different contexts so that they truly and deeply understand something, rather than just being able to give the correct knee-jerk response to a given input.
When I think about powerful learners, I'm really thinking about those young people who can go beyond the surface. I think for a lot of kids, school happens to them. They're there and they're present, and they're learning. They're picking things up as they go along, and they're going a little bit deeper than that. But they're not really kind of smashing through the surface and getting into that deeper learning and deeper understanding. Yeah. So I'm thinking about those kids who are self-directed in their learning. Those young people who can take some control, to a certain level. So some control of themselves, so they're being a bit metacognitive, thinking about their thinking about the to a certain extent, the way in which they're constructing knowledge and the understanding of how that's happening around them.
A powerful learner is somebody who can teach himself or herself, who can do that in a group, who can go through what we are now calling the design process and the creative innovation process. You have to be able to walk into a situation these days and be able to take sort of command of your own observations and the kinds of things that those observations sort of compel you to do. I mean, you've got to be able to look at a situation and think of it in terms of questions to ask. And you look at those questions, and then, in most situations, I don't know that many people work alone anymore. There are some, programmers and so on, but in most situations, people are in groups. They have to ask questions. They have to go through that creativity and innovation process to come up with the best answer to respond to that and so on. And it celebrates failure. Or as the Kelly brothers say at IDEO, probably one of the most well-regarded innovation companies in the world, fail often to succeed sooner. And all they mean by that is that you've got to feel comfortable not going after the right answer. And that is so much of what we do in education, getting the right answer. And what you really want are students who can ask the right questions, work together in a group to sort of flush that out and go through the iterative process in terms of brainstorming and so on to come up with a solution, and then be able to work together with others to fashion that into something that's useful, whether it's an idea or a product or an answer to a math equation.
I think a powerful learner is about when you give ideas to younger children and give them opportunity when they're young, and so they can develop their brains more and they can go on with their future.
And sometimes I take this, you talk about lifelong learners, and I'm not sure I really know what that is. What is a lifelong learner? We are learning from experience all day, every day. But a powerful learner is a little bit more deliberate than that. I want to learn, I want to know. I know that if I invest time and effort into this, it will pay some sort of dividend, whatever that dividend is, whether it's personal success, satisfaction, monetary, who knows, but it's going to pay a dividend.
A powerful learner is someone who learns from their mistakes, and not just their mistakes, other people's mistakes.
Probably three things: engaged, empowered, and free. So, engaged meaning that students are part of the process, and engaged meaning that learning is not something that's being done to students, but something that they're part of. Empowered being about their environment, and an environment where they're able to explore and to be self-directed. And freedom in terms of not being judged or stereotyped or catalogued as learners.
I think I want to make a distinction between successful learners, active learners, and powerful learners. So to me, a successful learner is someone who, I guess, can do the sorts of things that they're normally expected to do in the classroom. They've got their resilience, so if they make a mistake, they can learn from the mistakes, and they can kind of adapt, I guess, to the classroom context and do what's expected. An active learner is a little bit more than that, I think, because they're problem solvers. They can sort of look a little bit behind the, sort of read between the lines, perhaps. So they're even a little bit more adaptable. But a powerful learner is something different again, because I think the difference is they create their own kind of environment. So they can't just take what somebody else gives them, but they actually relish change, and they're drivers and innovators of change rather than just being responsive to it. So they'll do things that are completely unexpected.
And I think a powerful learner is not someone that just does work, but finds other ways to do it. What makes me a powerful learner is I never give up and I'm comfortable with my work.
Powerful learners, they can pose problems. They can take a real world situation that's problematic, and they can identify the mathematical part, and they have skills, processes, heuristics to help them through that mathematical part. And when they've asked the questions, they've collected their data, they come through the other side, and they have a real world solution. Now, to me, that's empowering.
Well, powerful learners, I think, are people that can actually take charge of their learning, go in depth with their learning, enjoy their learning, and actually have the skills to find out what they need to learn.
That. And I think the issue for me is the capacity to tolerate the discomfort of not yet. I think powerful learners don't need an instant and easy solution.
I think of a powerful learner as someone who is in control of their learning. Even in something like a school environment, they know how they learn best, so they take whatever the teacher is giving them and function it into either like a visual aid or whatever it helps and takes for them to learn.
So if we go along with the idea that powerful learning is using information to convert it into knowledge and to apply to things, it's first of all the ability to have had enough experiences or enough situations where you can actually join up the dots. Another example, my little brother, when he was very small, he was 3, and I was 16, and I forced him, because I thought it was very funny, to learn Shakespeare. So he learned how to say a line from Macbeth, out, brief candle, life is but a poor player. But he couldn't see it as a metaphor or as a parallel for the extinction of life. Really, of course, the line is talking about death. So what makes someone powerful is to have the connectivity, to be able to make those connections between two seemingly very different things. Yeah?